Thank you so much for joining today. To my audience, I'd like to introduce, today we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Nikhita. She is an Ayurvedic and a well-being practitioner. With a bachelor's degree in Ayurvedic medicine and surgery, she is an expert in Ayurveda. She went to pursue an MSc in physiological well-being and mental health. Right, ma'am? In England.
Yes. Psychological well-being. Yes.
Okay, right. So thank you so much for joining today and welcome to our session. Today we'll learn a lot about Ayurveda and how we can implement it in our everyday life. And not just that, it is more like a lifestyle now, if I'm not wrong. Right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ankita, for that beautiful introduction. And I'm so happy to be here on this live, connecting with not just, I think, Mumbai and Kolkata, but I think all across. So thank you so much, everyone who has joined us. So yes, it is, Ayurveda is definitely a science, which is the science of life. And, as we know that it is a holistic healthcare system. So I would be really happy to guide you, and if you have any questions, Ankita, please feel free to ask as well.
Sure. We have got this opportunity with ma'am today, so we'll definitely ask a lot of questions. So ma'am, how did you get that interest that, Ayurveda is something that you have interest in and you would like to, have higher studies? So what was that spark? Was it something from your childhood or was it something you developed, in your later stages in life?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So I actually have a little story which takes us back to my growing up years. So I come from a family where my mom is being practicing naturopathy, and she has, I think, from a very young age inculcated the importance of natural practices. So we would never really rely on any medication per se, but really look at it from a whole lifestyle and diet approach. And I think growing up, when you have that sort of a background, it kind of delves into you a curiosity and interest towards the same. So I think that was kind of the building foundation. And then moving ahead, I think it was when I personally got actually exposed to Ayurveda was during my junior college, that period. So since childhood itself, I've always had a very heaty body constitution, and I used to always wonder that why am I suffering from so many heat related ailments. And obviously back then I did not know what was my body constitution or prakriti or all of that, but then I always knew this particular thing. And when I was suffering from these ailments and I took the help of Ayurvedic treatment, so that was probably the period when I saw what Ayurvedic treatment could do, and it kind of convinced me and further sparked my interest in the science. So I think that is when it all kind of fell into place.
Amazing. I think that's brilliant. And, for people who do not have, linkages with Ayurveda from their childhood, I'm pretty sure they do not get that interest. They do not get the beauty of it, right? Since you were blessed to have a childhood where you were linked to nature and how Ayurveda was there in your parents' life as well. So I think that plays a very important role. And Utsav app, as you all know, we are also working on our Indian beliefs, Indian faith, devotion. So Ayurveda is something that is very much Indian, right? That is from Indian roots. So I think that is where, that's why we are blessed to have you today, where you are going to enlighten us about the beauty of it, what science, how science is related to it, everything. So my next question is, there are a lot of myths about Ayurveda, right? Some say that, Ayurvedic ailment takes a lot more time to cure, a disease or some ailments. So what is your take on that?
So I think that with Ayurvedic treatment, if you have not personally done it, then probably you would believe those myths. Okay, so I think Ayurvedic lifestyle and Ayurvedic diet as well as treatments, they are so much interrelated. Like you cannot say that it is a slow, because if you don't incorporate all the essences and ethos of it, like if you firstly don't understand yourself, how your body works, And without that understanding, if you would be taking Ayurvedic this, then maybe you might feel that it is slow, or it is because the answer is very simple. If a disease or a disorder is chronic and has taken a lot of time to develop, then how can you expect that the treatment, for that matter any, especially with Ayurvedic treatment in this case, for it to resolve quickly? Because in Ayurveda we believe in finding the root cause and treating the disorder accordingly. And if the disorder lies in your diet and lifestyle, or other external stimuluses, whatever it could be, then it is a very unrealistic expectation that it has to resolve, and it is not true. With Ayurvedic treatment also you can get very good results, on a very now the duration may depend on the disorder, on the patient's compliance, many factors, right?
Absolutely right. I think that is very much enlightening. So, talking about the chronic diseases, how would you talk about Ayurveda in curing them? What are the small steps that people can take as a preventive measure, not as a medicine, but as a preventive measure, so that they, today everybody is sick. You talk about obesity, diabetes, everybody, every family member is affected. So, what kind of tips and tricks would you like to give for everybody who can take care of themselves and have some preventive measures beforehand?
Absolutely, absolutely. So true. We often forget that the first limb of Ayurveda is preventive care, and if you are able to safeguard your health by strengthening your body and building your immunity, that is when you will not fall prey to any chronic disorders in the first place. So, having said that, some simple guidelines are to start off with dinacharya. We have this very important aspect, which is following a routine. And even something as simple as being able to have a fixed meal timing, more than a fixed meal timing, first of all being able to have a harmony with a circadian rhythm. We might have come across this word, right? So in Ayurveda we believe that with the rise of the sun, if we are able to wake up and then incorporate our meals and routines accordingly. For instance, Brahme Murta, or even for that matter, the time of just before the sunrise is best suited for waking up. Okay. Then, when we look at our digestive fire, just trying to understand that our digestive fire is at its peak during the lunch time, because that is the time when the sun is at its peak. So that is just learning, and just about being in harmony with the nature cycle as well. And then just trying to understand that before or during the sunset our digestive fire also slows down. So having an early dinner, and just trying to wrap up everything. So it's as simple as even just following a dinacharya, wherein we are able to incorporate our food and identify what our body is trying to tell us. Are we hungry? Are we not hungry? So even this kind of small things are very important to begin with.
Right. I think that's very insightful. So on that note, talking about people who work late shifts, right? Who have a lot of work at night to do, who do not sleep at night, So what about them? How should they take care of their dincharya?
Sure. So in that case, if at all this is the case, then firstly, it is to be very honest, it is a little like not in really the harmony of the nature cycle. So to a certain extent, already they might be prone and will develop certain imbalances, right? But to kind of overcome them, they can definitely work towards certain balancing food, or liquids or drinks which they can incorporate, because eating food would not be like possible, in the sense that their digestion would be affected. So maybe in that case they can incorporate having milk, based, or like, depending on what is their digestive fire, we can suggest accordingly. But then it is definitely best to avoid this kind of a routine. If they are having a night shift, then I can understand. But I also notice a lot of us, who are consciously or by choice not sleeping, or even for that matter unable to sleep a lot of times. So I think for that reason, it is important to work on the sleep cycle. It's very important, because in Ayurvedic, the three pillars of health: ahar, nidra, and brahmacharya. And actually, nidra, like sleep, is I think so underrated, but is so important according to Ayurveda.
Absolutely. Okay. So talking about this season, right? The seasonal changes. Abhi it's thand se garam ho rahi hai. So what kind of, everybody is affected with cough, cold. So what are the small remedies that we can use and make sure that we are safe even, during the seasonal changes?
Sure. So, as per Ayurveda, we have a Ritucharya, which is the seasonal regime. And right now, we are in Vasant Ritu, which is spring season. So, during this time, what happens essentially is that the Kapha dosh, now, since the winter has gone, right? Like the winter has left, and now the spring season. So what has happened is that the heat of the sun is starting to increase, and that is the reason why we notice so much of rise in temperature. And that also has an effect on our body, in the sense that the kapha starts to kind of have a melting sort of an effect within our body. So because of that, what happens is that if we incorporate any dietary items which might increase the kapha dosh in our body, that has a repulsive effect. So instead, we should support our digestive fire and eat foods which are going to help in melting away this excess kapha, and also help in igniting the digestive fire, like keeping it balanced. Okay, so basically avoid any food which is overtly sweet, or overtly very oily or heavy to digest. Any this kind of food should be ideally avoided. Also, if you notice that this is the season, or the beginning of the season, when we start to have different festivities which are around fasting, so that is also a very good thing. According to your digestive fire or your prakriti, you can do different like fasts. And then apart from that, you can incorporate drinking warm water with dry ginger, shunthi. That is very good for alleviating kapha dosha. Then you can also have honey with a little, like, normal water, like you can have that as well. So these are like basic things which can be done.
Right. And I think these are the things that हमारे नानी जी के नुस्खे के part हैं. So they have been telling this, अदरक वाली चाय पी लो, है ना, ऐसे. So I think that's very much relatable. So anything else, like, talking about people who are suffering, say, people who are in their pregnancy, or people who have, diseases like I was talking about. So are there any exceptions, things that they should not do with respect to Ayurveda, or everything is possible at every stage of their life?
No, there are definitely certain exceptions for different people. One more thing which I wanted to mention is about day sleeping. So for different seasons, like I said, different rules are there, but especially now, sleeping in the day should be avoided, because that also increases the kapha dosh in our body. So afternoon nap is actually not recommended. That is something as well. And then when we look at now, let's say that the other population, like you were asking about what can the night shift people do, so for those kind of individuals, there is one rule, very interesting rule of sleep in Ayurveda. For those people, you can take a nap before having your meal. So basically what happens is that if you are in a seated position and can take your nap in that position itself, or before your meals, that way you can complete, and essentially the amount of time you have not been able to sleep last night, okay, so you can just about half that time and sleep for that much time only before your afternoon like meals, like your lunch time. So that way you can use the
Okay.
Ayurvedic principles and still have healthy sleep.
I think that's very interesting. So sleep before your meal, a small nap. I think if that helps, I think that's amazing. Yeah, so that is something that the audience can definitely take away. That if you're working late night, if you have something like that, you can have small naps before your meal that can help you in taking care of yourself. So talking about the most asked questions. So when we did some poll on our stories and everything that Dr. Nikhita is coming. So any questions you have? So the most asked question was, what are the tips and tricks to take care of our skin? Because people face so much of problems with the pollution and everything. What's the small thing that we can do so that we can take care of our skin or our hair? Even today I see a lot of my young friends, they're very young, they shouldn't have these kind of problems, but their hair is falling out. So they are going to doctors for medicines, what to do, baal jhar jayenge, shaadi nahi hogi. So these kind of things happening. So what is your take on that, and what tips and tricks for our generations?
Sure. So again, this is a very important. Even I come across a lot of youngsters, and in general see a lot of us suffering from hair and skincare issues. So firstly, actually, I think we are exposed to a lot of information and a lot of products as well, and I think it takes a little bit of consciousness to understand that which one is a little like well suited. Everything is not going to work for everyone, and that is something as well we need to be a little patient with ourselves. So having said that, I think just doing basic skincare aspects which can be incorporated from a young from a teenage time, that is something which can be done. So not just externally, but a lot of times even internally, there are lots of things which are not in the right balance. So we often look at our external, like what products we can apply, although that is one aspect of skincare and hair care, but also how are we taking care of our internal organs, like is our digestion right, is our probably it can also be the case that we are not having enough of the right according to our body type. So if there is any sort of inflammation or hampered sleep cycle, so these are also very responsible for poor like any sort of hair fall or any, because these are all disorders which are related to Vat and Pitta. So if the imbalances are happening, then we need to rectify those, and then of course we can take care of it with the right herbs for application for hair or for skin.
Right. So I think you have talked about the internal issues. So how we can take care of it externally. So what are the herbs? What are the things? Should we do it in the morning? Should we have some routine before going to bed? What is it?
Right. So in the day, I think it is important for us to understand that our skin does require a certain amount of protection from the sun rays. So because we are also exposed to a lot of digital devices these days, and the UV rays are something as well which are going to harm our skin on a longer duration. So definitely looking at a basic good sunscreen according to your skin type would be something which would be well suited to take care of your skin during the day. And probably when you actually get back home, now that time you can make sure that you cleanse your skin well. So for cleansing the skin, you can definitely use now natural powdered herbs, like especially in this season. We do recommend to use a lot of cooling herbs, especially like chandan, or khas, rose. So these ones would be quite nice. Aloe vera as well. So these ones are, quite hydrating. So you can look out for these herbs if possible. You can use it in the powdered or in the fresh form, or look out for these in the kind of products as well. If you are looking out, you can choose accordingly. And if you're using this as a face pack, especially now since there's so much of heat wave as well, like today we had a heat wave, so you can always use this as a face pack, or even on your body if you feel like there is any sort of heat rash, or just require something to soothe. Especially it has been mentioned in the ritucharya as well, to apply this as a pack on your body, so that also can be done. And for I think night time you can also use a good skin oil. Like you can use different oils according to your skin type. So there are lots of oils. There is coconut oil, moringa oil, almond oil. So you can select one oil and then do a facial massage. I think that is also a great way to take care of your skin.
Amazing, amazing. Sure, I think our audience got a lot of tips and tricks to note down. Talking about, you talked about, so talking about hair care routine. So I have seen a lot of people who, support oiling their hair, once a week or something like that. And some of them say, ki nahi, is it different for people with oily skin, people with dry skin? So what's the oiling routine should be like?
Sure. So, first of all, with oiling is very, very important aspect of the hair care. But we also need to understand if our scalp is in the healthy condition in order to apply any sort of oil. So, once that is for sure, then you can definitely select Ayurvedic different oils. So applying oil before hair wash is very, very good to maintain the health of hair, like hair follicles, as well as it helps in nourishing and boosting the blood circulation. So that is one thing. So the first and foremost thing is that applying oil is very important. Second thing is the way of applying oil. So always make sure that you warm the oil a bit, and then you apply it to your roots, and then you massage it through, so that the blood circulation is also improved, and it actually helps in reaching the hair follicles, and it helps in nourishing with the rich ingredients, which will help in giving you that sort of a nourishment. So that's for sure.
Okay. Sure. And the difference, people with dry and people with oily skin, what's the difference for them?
So for people who have got a dry scalp, for sure, can use oil overnight. They can use richer oils as well and leave it overnight. For those who are having more of oily scalp, they can probably just apply oil for 45 minutes, or less than an hour. So that way it will help in making sure that there is not much of any irritation, or any excess oil.
What? So, when we talk about a problem, everybody is facing a problem of dandruff, having a lot of dandruff in their hair. So, is oiling one of the solutions, or are there some other things we can take care of?
So for dandruff, you can actually, oiling is one thing, but you can also take help of applying hair masks. You can make few hair masks at home. So one of the key ingredients is methi seeds. So you can soak methi seeds and grind it, and then mix it with aloe vera gel. So this is a very nice DIY hair mask which can be made. Then you can also again you can also use, if you have a little drier scalp, then like if you are having dandruff as well, then you can probably even use like a curd based hair mask. For that you can use ingredients, you can squeeze lime as well in this. And then you can use, if you have got fresh hibiscus flower, or you can use the dried powder of even triphala in this hair mask. So this kind of yogurt based hair mask can also be applied in this season.
Okay, amazing. Right. So a lot of products claim that they have, natural aloe vera, natural, rose water. So what is your take on that? Are those products, what should we keep in mind if we are buying such products? Is there a percentage that we should take? What is the, percentage? But of course, they can never work with respect to, fresh aloe vera or fresh rose water. But if we talk about the products, what should we keep in mind while we buy them?
Sure, this is a very important question. So, I think with skincare, it is important to firstly note that even natural skincare products can sometimes be not, suitable, or you can develop irritation or allergy as well. But at the same time, it is also important to realize that if we are not using the right um, type of natural ingredients, anything in excess or unsuitable one can also cause an irritation or inflammation to the skin. So please be mindful that don't go for DIYs also blindly, because there are so much of DIYs which are there, and not everything is good, so don't do it blindly. When it comes to picking products, you can firstly learn to read the labels. I have also made a few videos on this, that how to read the labels. So basically, the ingredients which are mentioned in the top are the ones which are more in percentage in the product. So you can learn to read the labels. Then secondly, test the product if possible, before buying, because sometimes allergic or not suitable. So that is one way of going at it. Then thirdly, I think it is also now upon, you can always read up and take the advice of a skincare expert, or you can reach out before purchasing. That way also you can do. So these are a few ways, I think, which is what I have.
Amazing. I think that's quite helpful. So, talking about today's lifestyle, okay, everybody is sticked in front of their screens, right? Be it television, mobile phone, laptop, day and night. So, it affects the eyes a lot, right? So, anything that Ayurveda suggests we can do to take care of our eyes?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So there is actually one Kansa Vati. So this is a ritual which is there in the Dinacharya, like the Ratri Charya aspect of it, that before you go to bed, you can use a Kansa Vati, or for that matter, do Pad Abhyangam. Okay, so
Okay.
basically, our feet, they have got all the nerve endings which help us, and also as per Ayurveda, we believe that the everyday, walking, talking, whatever activities, movements we are doing is the function of the Vat dosh predominantly. So when we lie down and we are about to go for our bedtime, so that time, if we are able to stimulate these nerve endings in our feet, we not only get a good night's sleep, but also helps in relaxing our eyes. So this is very, very good. You
Okay,
all
that's
must
interesting.
try. Yeah, you all must try Padabhyangam.
Okay, how to get that? Like, is it available in the market or something?
So I actually have an Ayurvedic lifestyle kit, which has got all of these wellness tools. So it looks something like this. So it's got like all of this. So it's got Kansa Vati, it's got Kansa wand. So these are like essential. Tongue scraper, it's got a wooden toothbrush, wooden neem comb, copper eye cup as well. So one more thing which I have to tell you, since you asked about eye care, is that you can also incorporate every day washing your eyes, with a like a copper eye cup. But you can also use Triphala Churna eye wash. I have also shared a video of that on my feed, so you can have a look at that as well.
Sure. So, can you elaborate a bit? Like, I don't know a bit about that copper cup.
Yeah, sure. So a copper eye cup. So it's basically an eye cup which is of copper, and since copper has also got a very purifying and a cleansing effect, so essentially you can even use just plain water to cleanse your eyes. So this cup can be placed in your eye, and you just have to blink your eyes 4 to 5 times on both sides. Then you can repeat it in 2 cycles, to start off with in the morning. So first thing when you wake up, you can do these cleansing rituals, and then start your day.
Amazing. So this kit is available. Like, can people contact you to get the guidelines of how to get that?
Yes, absolutely. It's available on my website. You can DM me, and it's also available on my website on
Sure.
www.drnikhita.com.
Amazing. So the audience, you can note that down and definitely go and check out her website. So the last question, it's been more than half an hour I have been with you. So the last question for me is, are there any side effects in Ayurveda?
Sure. So, I want to ask you one thing, Ankita, that if I may, that if a certain ingredient, do you believe that turmeric helps in boosting the immunity? It has an anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer. Do you believe this?
Right.
Do
Yes.
you believe? Yes. Okay. So if you believe this is true, then do you also believe that anything taken in excess would be harmful?
Right.
Right? So it's the same with even any Ayurvedic or anything, in this world for that matter. So if a herb has an effect, right, and if it is given to the right person in the right quantity at the right time, it will give an effect. But if a herb is unsuitable, if it is taken in the excess quantity or in less quantity, or at the wrong time or in the wrong season, in the wrong age group, so it will definitely have a side effect or no effect or ill effect. So that is something which we need to understand with anything for that matter. So I think that is the answer to that question.
Sure, sure. I think that's very insightful. Thank you so much. I am done with the questions I had, and I think we got to learn a lot from you. And we'll definitely keep this video posted from our feed. We'll tag you as well, and we'll also release small clips out of these videos with each question, so that people who don't have a lot of time to invest, they can definitely have a look at that. So thank you so much, ma'am. You have any questions on anything last you would like to mention to the audience?
Thank you so much, Ankita, for having me here. I would like to urge everybody to start with little basic steps and make sure that they are incorporating Ayurveda as a way of life, and just kind of experience, and like once you start, I think I would love to know what your experiences are. But give yourself a chance, and just start as early as possible. I'm sure you won't regret it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining today. Thank you. It was wonderful to have you. We'll definitely look forward to more such sessions, and we'll definitely stay connected.
Sure. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank
Have a
you.
great week ahead.
Okay, bye.
Bye.